Morning. Well, hello everybody. If you follow me on Instagram, and it would be really cool if you did, I'd be stoked. You know that I usually pass by this corner right here during my morning workouts because I usually snap a picture right at the crack of dawn. And this is one of the main intersections here in Miami, like one of the epicenters. This right here, that's the Miami Trail, Calle 8, Southwest 8th Street, US 41, which to the east, it goes through Little Havana and eventually ends up at downtown. If you go to the west and you go, you eventually end up in Tampa. This is here Lejeune Road, and up there, that would be a couple of miles away, that's the airport, the MIA, and Hialeah after that. And if you go south, this is Coral Gables, and eventually you'll end up in the Coco Plum mansions all the way by the ocean. So today we're gonna do something very few people do in Miami. Today I'm gonna go to downtown and walk all the way here. Maybe not all the way here, but through downtown and Little Havana, and show you that area from a different perspective, doing what nobody ever does in Miami, walking.
I'm riding with my RV, wherever I want to be, because I'm free in my RV, yeah.
This video is sponsored by Rat Power Bikes. We are going east on the Dolphin Expressway towards downtown. There's Marlins Park, our baseball stadium, and the Miami River. To the left of I-95 or east, that's downtown. To the right or west, that's Little Havana. We got off here by the new Brickell City Center, which has a hotel, a mall, condos, all very luxurious, like the rest of this area. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to downtown Miami, where we jaywalk all the time. Here we see a nice contrast between the old and the new. This is Miami's first Presbyterian church, a historic building dating back to 1949. And this is the relatively new Icon Brickell. Well, before we continue any further, I'm going to walk to the middle of the Miami River Bridge here, the Brickell Bridge, so I can show you the view. It's very nice. That's the old Centrust building, nowadays the Miami Tower, but I didn't realize until now that it may have inspired the much newer Epic Tower. And here we are, the Port of Miami, as seen from the Miami River Bridge. Those skyscrapers in the distance, that's South Beach. And there's not much traffic, mid-morning. This right here, this is the archaeological site known as the Miami Circle, which is, I suppose, kind of like a Tequesta version of Stonehenge. Right here, this is what is called the Miami Circle, which was an archaeological finding that they discovered when they were building this skyscraper. And I'll read up on it. There's a nice view of the Brickell Bridge statue, which represents a Tequesta family, which are the early inhabitants of these lands. I don't know if you can tell, but it is really hot. Oh, it's like 1,000,000,000 degrees here in Miami, and very humid. Well, here's all the information about the Miami Circle. And we are here right by the mouth of the Miami River. Yep, the epic marina, with some pretty epic yachts, if I may say so myself. And that over there, that's the artificial island known as Brickell Key. Pretty low tide today. Brickell Key is mostly residential, except for the second building from the right, which is where I used to work. From the back of the Presbyterian Church, you can see several decades of Miami architecture. It's an interesting piece of art, don't you think? Oh yeah, that's an iconic view right there. And the tall building in the middle, that used to be the Southeast Financial Center. And during the late 80s and the 90s, it was Miami's tallest skyscraper. And to this day, it is still the tallest office building in Florida. Well, if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, you've probably seen this bridge many times, because that's where I used to work. And this is downtown Miami, and now the real walking tour begins. Because I am gonna walk from here until the camera battery runs out, pretty much. So follow me as we walk through the Brickell area and then through Little Havana, and eventually we'll make it home. There on the third floor, yeah, that used to be work. It didn't have much of a view though. Before we begin walking west, let me show you here the Four Ambassadors Marina. The white buildings, well, there's actually 4 of them, hence the name Four Ambassadors. It was built in the late 60s and is one of the oldest buildings in the area. And the tower under construction, well, that's Panorama Tower. When finished, it will be, at least for a little while, the tallest skyscraper in Miami. Next, I am going to take you to the city center, and I don't know if you remember the holiday party that I went to up there on almost the top floor on December of 2016, and I show you the view from the top. Well, it is really quite nice. Back to good old 2017. This is the fountain by the entrance of the Four Ambassadors. Well, this right here is Brickell Avenue, named of course after Mary Brickell, or after, one of the founders of Miami. And here I am risking my life to show it to you. It's very cool. It's incredibly hot today. I think I said that already, but I'm sweating profusely the things I do for you guys. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. Blue skies. Look at that. Unbeatable. Well, as the story goes, William and Mary Brickell owned all this land, and together with Julia Tuttle and Henry Flagler, well, they co-founded Miami. Let's go inside the city center. I am burning up. I need some AC. The mall has this unique roof design called a climate ribbon, and it is supposed to give you shade and light at the same time and channel the prevailing breezes from Biscayne Bay. I must admit, it feels pretty cool in here, but I suspect there is also some air conditioning involved. Most of the stores are still not open under construction because the mall is so new. Still very much empty at mid-morning. I am sure it will get busier by lunchtime. And we are on the bridge that straddles 7th Street. Yep, there are a bunch of pretty nice restaurants here at the mall, pretty pricey too. Miami, the city of the eternal construction, so it feels. Okay, let's get out of here. Let's continue walking on 8th Street towards the west. What am I doing here? I don't even like shopping malls. Back on the street level, looking up at the mall, let's walk back a block south to 8th Street. And there's construction everywhere. That little strip mall was the only building around here around 4 years ago. I'm gonna start slowly continuing walking west here. Gonna abandon this ritzy Brickell area towards Little Havana. I remember when that shopping mall was the only thing here. All these buildings are less than 2 or 3 years old. The SunTrust actually looked tall back then. When I return in about 30 seconds, we will cross the imaginary boundary into Little Havana, so stay with me. Rat Power Bikes is an electric bike manufacturer offering direct-to-consumer pricing on powerful premium electric bikes. Because they sell directly to you, the consumer, you won't see the large retail markup that would be present if you were buying from a third party or a dealer, ensuring you're always getting a performance e-bike at a fraction of the cost. Visit www.ratpowerbikes.com or call 1-800-939-0310 to learn more about their models or to place an order. Now offering free shipping on all 4 models. I want to say that the Metro rail line is kind of like the invisible boundary, or was the invisible boundary between the Brickell neighborhood and what you would call Little Havana. But as you can see, they've been building a lot of new construction west of the Metro rail. So I don't think that no longer applies. You hear it, the Metro rail? But we can hear it, but we can't see it. Yeah, this old motel is also a remnant of what the neighborhood used to look like, which was a lot of low-income apartments and now replaced by luxury condos. Gentrification, I think it is called. Yeah, I definitely say we're leaving the concrete jungle behind us and now we are entering into a less densely populated area. You see? Skyscrapers? No skyscrapers. And it's a little shady part of town too, so I'll go fast. Here we are, going to go under the I-95 overpass. There are usually some homeless people around here, like in every big city.
never been around here as a pedestrian. Anyways, this is the beginning or the end of Calle Ocho, Spanish for 8th Street, the heart of Little Havana, where you will be hard-pressed to find someone not speaking Spanish. In fact, I am surprised that the sign says Latin food and not comida latina. It is a relatively low-income neighborhood, so don't be surprised if some things are a little run down. This right here is Taquerías El Mexicano, one of my favorite Mexican restaurants in town, and they have been here forever too, like since the 80s. Yay! 10,500 steps, and it's not even noon yet.
It's an interesting perspective to see the city like this. It's almost like a new city. As I was saying, seeing the city like this, walking around, this like a unique perspective. In a way, I've commuted on this street thousands of times, literally. But besides the fact that it changes constantly because they keep building stuff all over the place, when you're walking, it's like you can see things better from closer. It's very cool. I should do this more often.
Yep, definitely there is no better way to get to know a city than by walking it.
And by the way, this is not the touristy part of Little Havana. We'll get there soon. We're about half a mile away. I'm going to deviate a little bit here from 8th Street so I can show you some of the residential parts here of this part of Little Havana.
This is definitely one of Miami's oldest neighborhoods, which actually used to be a Jewish neighborhood back in the 1930s and then was settled by a large group of Cuban exiles back in the early 60s, which is why it is called Little Havana, of course. And nowadays, well, the neighborhood is not as homogeneously Cuban as it once was, let's say like in the 70s. It is now home to many Nicaraguans, Hondurans, Salvadorans, and you can tell by the many businesses, restaurants, which cater to all the different Hispanic nationalities. Okay, there's an old house, and before there were hurricane shutters, they had these funky looking awnings. Some buildings are new and well maintained, some are not. And some houses look like botanical gardens.
I have never actually been, I have been, but I've never seen because I've always been driving. And can you see me sweating? Oh my God, it's so hot.
I've never actually been around here on foot. I was always told it was a really bad neighborhood, but it doesn't seem to be so bad right now. Maybe later in the day, I don't know.
Okay, moving along.
I had never seen this church before either. Check it out, a hotel.
Well, we are back by 8th Street.
Well, this rooster has definitely seen better days, and something tells me we are getting close to the touristy area because of all these murals. Cigar factories, yeah, that's a clear sign we're getting to the touristy area. Here we go, another one. I wander into this little mercadito or bodega, and that's how most of these small Latin supermarkets look like. Maybe I'll have a guarapo at the cafeteria. By the way, guarapo is a sugar cane juice, very sweet, very refreshing. And it must be served fresh, so they squeeze the sugar cane right before serving it.
If you don't know what guarapo is, it's nothing more than sugarcane juice. The trick with the guarapo, by the way, you have to drink it right away, right after they squeeze it off the sugarcane, because it oxidizes really, really quick. Yeah, that was very refreshing.
You see how the sidewalk changes? That's because that's where the touristy area begins. Okay, this rooster here is in much better shape. And this mosaic, named Miami after a dialect spoken by the Miami tribe of Oklahoma, was based on a painting by Santos E. Mendez, and it was apparently fabricated using high-tech robots. It is at the TD Bank. And that's the first original Navarro family. I think they are now owned by CVS, by the way. Actually, the original was founded back in Cuba in the 1940s. This is the original Miami location. Miami also has its Walk of Fame, featuring stars from all over Latin America. It has been a long walk from downtown to here.
It was at this Radio Shack back in 1990. Or 89 could be, probably 90, that I bought my first video camera.
And this eternal flame is the monument dedicated to the men who lost their lives at the failed Bay of Pigs invasion back in 1961. Its purpose was to topple down the Castro regime, which obviously didn't work out. Relatives still to this day bring flowers. Well, at the beginning I said I was going to walk west until my camera battery died, but in reality, I am the one running on fumes here. And here's the touristy fruteria. And by the way, if you want to see the touristy area in much more detail, I'll put a link to my Little Havana video. And here they have a much better explanation of what guarapo is. About guarapo. Guarapo is extracted from the plant in its natural form, with no additives or chemicals. It retains its nutrients, calcium, potassium, iron, organic enzymes, amino acids. It rejuvenates the human cells. So, there you go. Drink more guarapo. This store here gets pretty busy during Halloween. These few city blocks are overrun with tourists, and I guess it is the area where they have decided to preserve, the Cuban heritage as much as possible, but definitely catered to the tourist. The place where I had the guarapo earlier, that was much more authentic than this.
Hey, how you two doing? It's only you there.
Here we are by Domino Park, which is the place where they now old-timers, they used to be young, played dominoes, which is a Cuban's favorite pastime. Dominoes, it's almost like a religion in the Cuban culture. And here's the Azúcar Ice Cream Company and Ball and Chain, two new additions to this area, relatively new. Ball and Chain was actually originally a jazz club back in the 1930s, and it recently reopened in its current format. They have a live band. One of these days, I'm gonna show you the rest of Little Havana. But that's it for today. I hope you have enjoyed walking with me around Miami, the one thing no one ever does in this city. Before we go, I would like to thank my Patreons, for they are the executive producers of the show, and if you would like to support the work that I do, head over to patreon.com/travelingrobert. I really appreciate your support. Thank you. All good things come to an end, but before you go, if you liked it, do me a solid and give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Also, remember to subscribe if you haven't, and check out my other videos. You can also visit the blog at travelingrobert.com, join the mailing list, and follow me on social media at travelingrobert. As always, thank you so much for watching, and see you on the road. Riding with my RV.